right, Chelsea. All right, Chelsea. They have not hijacked. No, 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 no. They have not hijacked Liverpool's move for Endo. Endo will end up at Liverpool for 90 million pounds from Stuttgart. I mean, report says the 30-year-old player is a very, very good midfielder. He plays for Stuttgart. Is a defensive midfielder from is a Japanese. All right, so that's not why I mentioned Chelsea earlier. Now, there have been a lot of talks about how Chelsea could spend $1.1 billion and still stay in charge. I mean, how can they spend so much money and they have not been charged by financial fair play, by UEFA, and by Premier League? Many people, especially, I'm telling you, Liverpool fans have been looking at it. How could they be spending so much money? How could they be doing it? And they have not been charged by UEFA or they have not been charged by the Premier League. By the way, to know whether Chelsea are within limit or not, it has to take about a year, at least a year from now, because they did the last account by the end of June 30th this year, June 30th, 2023. So another account, the financial year, this financial year, we only see their account by June 30, 2024. So we are not expecting anything, but there have been a lot of noise from everyone, and we even had reported earlier this week that some fans, the fans of some club, the leaders of some club, especially Liverpool, are looking to report Chelsea to the Premier League. That how could they be spending so much money? And that's why I want to answer this moment. I've done quite a bit some research, listening to some analysts, and I've also drawn my own inference to from the research that I've made. So let's go. Now, the first answer to why Chelsea could spend a lot of money is and still not get caught up in FFP is amortization. Simple word, amortization. Now, amortization was not pioneered or is not pioneered by Chelsea. But what was pioneered by Chelsea is that their owner from America, Todd Bowley and Co. Now, their owner pioneered a system that is unique to to the basketball in America, which is offering long-term contracts to players, 8 years, 8.5 years, and that's what you have seen at Chelsea. Normally, when you buy a player for 50 million pounds and you sign him up for a contract for let's say 5 years, that means 50 divided by five, and let's say 50 divided by five is whatever number it gives you, let's say seven, let's say 7 or 7.2. That means the amount you are going to report in each year for the player will be 7 million per year. That means the player costs you 7 million per year. Now, how are Chelsea taking advantage of this? For example, they bought Mudryk from Shakhtar Donetsk, right? Yes, I believe Shakhtar Donetsk in January for 89 million pounds, and they signed him up for 8.5 years. Let's say eight years. They signed him up for eight years, right? 8 years contract for Mudryk in January. That means 89 divided by 8, and that should give you around say 10, let's say 10 million pounds. That means for every year they are going to record 10 million naira, 10 million pounds. Sorry if you're not Nigerian, sorry about that. 10 million pounds per year is the cost of Modric for Chelsea in the financial books. I believe you get that now. So what Chelsea are taking advantage of is the loophole in both the UEFA and Premier League rule. There is up to this time there is no limit to to the length of contract that can be offered to a player at a go. But when Chelsea took advantage of this, UEFA quickly blocked that loophole. However, the loophole only affects clubs that are presently in European competition. So Chelsea finished 12th, they are not European competition. So UEFA blocked that loophole, it still didn't affect them. It turned out that finishing 12th also had an advantage. So Chelsea finished 12th, they were not tied down by the new rule UEFA has brought into place. But Premier League has not yet set a standard for the number of year you can sign up a player for at a go. So amortization is the first one there, and then longer contract. Amortization via longer contract. Let's put it that way. Amortization via longer contract. Next thing is sales, and under sales we are going to have it into two: sales, general sales, and homegrown sales. For instance, when Chelsea bought Havertz for 72 million pounds from Bayern Leverkusen in 2020 for a 5 years contract, then the, the same way we explain about amortization, that means 72 divided by 5. Let's say give you roughly, I don't know whether 16 thereabout or 16 or 20, let's say 20 million pounds thereabout. I'm not with calculator and my head could not carry it out that way. Let's say 20 million pounds per year. So for 20, Havertz still has 2 years on his deal. So based on the normal calculation, Havertz will still cost Chelsea about 24.6 million pounds for the remaining 2 years on his contract. But when Arsenal came, Arsenal bought him for 65 million pounds plus add-on. That means when you put that into accounting, Chelsea now has in quotes now 36.5 million pounds profit for Havertz. Now that's what they are trying to do. It's a lot of economic. You have to give it to Bole and Co. They don't understand. They don't know much about football. You can see the mess they have created footballing wise, but business wise, they are doing they are doing well. And I think some Premier League club could actually learn from them. However, we are still on the lookout for them. Don't forget, Manchester City has about 103 charges by the Premier from the Premier League. Right now, the case is still in court. It's still in court. So it is time that we test whether Todd and Co really know what they are doing or not, whether it is a masterpiece or it is a disaster waiting to happen. But right now, they are not in trouble. But in the years to come, we want to see. So another thing about sale is homegrown sale. For example, they sold Mason Mount to Manchester United for 55 million pounds. So for homegrown sale, there is no expenses there. So the whole 55 million pounds goes straight into profits. So you can see how they are trying to balance their account. And they want to sell Lewis Hall to Newcastle again now for 30 million pounds plus add-on. So that one too, also as an homegrown player, academy player, actually, not homegrown, academy player, as an academy player, that goes straight into the profit account. So a little bit of garbage in, garbage out. That's how they are trying to manage the account, and they've been doing it well. Especially when you look at the player that they are trying to ship on. You see Koulibaly, you see Kovacic, you have Mendy, then Ziyech on his move to Galatasaray if everything goes well, and you see they are on high wage bill. Those players are on high wage bill on the side of Chelsea, they said yes, if you can get this player off high wage bill, we can also increase our spending, and that's what they've done. They've moved N'Golo Kante also that's gone on a free, and they are now signing players with around the age of 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and the players have not reached their peak, so they offer the player a base package of within 80 to 150,000 pounds per week, according to reports, and they now give them incentive if you score a certain number of goals, if you performance generally, they offer them performance related incentive. So that is how Chelsea are coping with financial fair play at the moment. Now, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the drawbacks associated with their technique. Now, will it work long time? It can't work long time, or it can work long time. It's a two-way thing. If the player now, let's look at Wesley Fofana that is signed from Leicester for, is that I think 78 million pounds thereabout plus add on. Now Fofana has been injured multiple times now. Imagine you sign a young player like that for 78 million pounds. You spread it out maybe for 6 or 7 years contract, and he has not played anything. Now that is a loss. Because if as he's not playing, if they want to resell for Fofana, they can't sell for Fofana for 78 million pounds at the present rate because he has not been playing, so it will come at a loss. Kukurel, they sell Kukurel, or as we call it here in Nigeria, Kukurela. Yeah, they sell Kukurel for 65 million pounds from Brighton, and Kukurel has been underwhelming. According to report, the reason Hall could not stay is because Kukurel is blocking his path. They can't sell Kukurel because it has been very, very underwhelming. How about Sterling? Sterling is on high wages, and still they can't sell him too. So if you have a lot of those challenge on the long run, the players they bought have to spark. They have to sparkle, spark, and spark. They have to play well, else there will be problem. That's number one. Number two is that the player could get injury, and as I've covered it, if the cash is not flowing, if they are not having good investment, don't forget this is our own soccer world. They don't have Chelsea did not have front shirt sponsor, and I'm actually thinking of giving them a deal that they should put soccer world at their whatsoever there. They should put soccer world at their front sponsor. We don't have money to give them, but we have potential. I mean, they can just sign us up for our potential. That's just by the way. I mean, if they are not getting good investment, if they are not winning trophies, if they are not getting into Champions League places, you know, revenue will not be coming in, money will not be coming in, and that will affect them. In fact, within the last 3 weeks, we have had report that they are looking to sell some stake to external investors so that they can pump in money again because man, 1.1 billion is a lot of money, and that is just by the way, I think I've covered up everything I have here. You can see that one of the reason why Chelsea are complying with financial fair play rule both at the Premier League end and at the UEFA end at the moment is because longer contracts, their amortization, sales, both academic sales and general sales, and they are freeing up their wage bills at the moment. And we talk about the drawback that if they can't get into Champions League places, if they don't win trophies, revenue generated from winning trophies, and if they don't get sponsors and the cash gets trapped, the player got injured, the player are not playing at all, resale value drop, then they are gonna be in a lot of difficult moment. But that's just it. Now, don't forget this video. This is the second time I'm actually shooting it. The first time I shot it, I was about running the video. I want to do some little editing on it. Then I pressed delete and I did not back it up. I deleted the video. So this video has to reach all the Chelsea fans in the whole world. I mean, it has to reach millions of people to compensate for my effort because this is the second time, man, I have to set up everything, lightning, everything, and I mean, you understand. So that's what I'm saying. Please like, share, subscribe, throw it to someone there so that you can see how everything is going. Thank you.